Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you a tool called the Scenario Manager. And what the Scenario Manager does is it allows us to create various scenarios of, maybe in this case, of different banks offering us loans at maybe differing percentages, rates or whatever, as well as terms as far as length goes. All right. And normally, if you didn't know about this tool, you'd probably just create a number of different worksheets, each with a different bank and their particular interest rate, the amount, and then you'd see what the principal and interest payment would be. But this tool allows us to have just one sheet and be able to pick from a list of different scenario names, and each time we click on the different scenario, it will change this information. And then what we're going to be able to do is generate a summary report where it'll compare side by side each one of these scenarios. Now, to make that particular report more user-friendly, what we're going to want to do is make sure that we name each of the cells here with something other than, B1, C2, C3, C4 kind of thing. So we want to be able to say that these are this is the bank name, that this is the loan amount, or let's just say principal. This could be the rate, this could be the term, that type of thing. All right. So to do that, we're going to go and we're going to click on to the first one right here, which is going to be where the bank name will appear. I'm going to go up into the what we call the name box, and we'll just call this one bank. Okay. Enter that in, and then we're going to go over here to the loan amount. Okay, so we'll put in here, we'll click onto that, we'll go back up to the name box, we'll call that amount. I'll just call amount. All right, enter that in. Then I'm going to click on to the interest rate here, and we'll call that one rate. Enter that in. We'll call this one term. Let's go up there and do term. And this one will be referred to as the payment. Okay. And that's it. All right. So now we've got that out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is go back into the what if. So this would be in the data tab. You go to the what if. You go over here to the scenario manager. We have no scenarios currently defined. So we're going to click on to add. We're going to call this first scenario Acme Bank. And then the cells that are going to change, that are going to be, plugged in each time for each one of these scenarios, is going to be, first of all, B1 here, all right? And then we'll hold down the control key and click on to the loan amount, the rate, and the term, okay? And then we'll go ahead and hit OK. And the data that we've got in here right now for Acme is okay, so you'll see all that in there. We don't need to change anything. You see how those range names are in there in place of B1, C2, C3, C4 kind of thing, right? All right. All right, then we'll go ahead and hit OK. And there's our first one. All right, now we're going to add another one. So I'm going to click on the add. We're going to call this one, let's say, the Beta Bank. All right. All four of those are going to be what we're changing. All right, so we leave that alone. Hit OK. And now we'll go ahead and we'll type in Beta Bank. So what will happen is when we choose this scenario, Beta Bank will fill in where this is, right? And then I'm just going to hit my tab key, and that'll take me quickly down to the next one here. The amount, we want to leave that alone. We want to keep the amount constant between each of the banks. It's just what's really changing is going to be the rate here. Okay, so on this particular one, they're offering let's say 0.06. All right, and the term is going to be 30 years as well, so we'll leave that one alone. We'll hit OK. There that one is. Now we'll go ahead and hit add again. Now this bank is going to be called the pawn bank. All right. We've got the different cells, right? We hit OK. And in this case, we're going to go and type in pawn bank. The amount's going to be the same. The interest rate with them is going to be 0.15, a little bit higher. And their term is going to be, in this case, 15 years. All right. And then we'll go ahead and hit OK. And then we'll hit add again. All right, now this is going to be the Delta Bank. Same range of cells there. We'll hit OK. And we'll type in Delta. And the amount's going to be the same. The interest rate is going to be 0.055. And that will be for 15 years. And we'll go ahead and hit OK on that. Very good. And then one more. We'll hit add. We're going to do this one. This is going to be XYZ Bank. And it's going to be the same cell, so we'll just hit OK. And this is going to be XYZ Bank. And they're going to be at 0.045. And they're going to be at 15 years. All right. Hit OK, and that's it. Now, once you've done all that, we'll just hit close. And now, those scenarios are all built into this workbook. So, if you were to save this, and let's say attach it to an email and send it to somebody, they'll have availability to them as well. So, we don't have to worry about not being available to those things. Again, they're built into this. All right, so now when you're ready to run the scenario, or the scenarios, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the data tab, go back to what if analysis, go to the scenario manager, and there will be all of our scenarios. Now, Acme Bank is already on there. I mean, if I were to double click that, that's all you'd see. But if I want to see now what beta would be, I'll double click on the beta. There's beta. Double click on the pawn. There's pawn. Double click on to Delta. There's Delta. And double click on to XYZ. There's XYZ. That's pretty cool. Now, if you want to run a little report that kind of summarizes all this, all these banks together, side by side, so you can compare, all you have to do is you click on to summary down here. And the cell that we're really kind of focusing on is really kind of looking at the scheduled payment. So the results cell is going to be this one right here. All right, but we want to do scenario summary, and it's going to be really kind of hinging around this, right, which is the scheduled payment. We hit OK, and there we go. So if our whole reason is just to kind of putting all of these scenarios together is to be able to do this type of comparison, this is great because I can look at each one of the banks and I can see, okay, we've got XYZ. Well, XYZ was the current one. That's what is already up there now. But we'll be able to look at the Acme, $333 per month versus XYZ, $382 versus Pawn Bank and Delta Bank. So you can take a look at this and say, okay, which is going to be better for us? I mean, obviously, you're going to be paying more in interest with various ones, but at the same time, what you're looking at, what you're focused on is that payment, see? And that's what we have down there. So that's a great little tool there. Great little summary. Now I'm going to show you another scenario that we can set up. And this one, it has to do with looking at growth rates. growth rates in sales, growth rates in cost of goods, marketing, research, that type of thing. In other words, looking at so what we're trying to do is show what eventually our total income is going to be if we look at initially, let's say for our first year, we look at our sales there and also our expenses as far as the cost of goods and things like that. And if we were looking to kind of estimate a percentage increase year over year over year for each one of these, that would be what we'd see over here. So the way we've got this set up is that for the first one, we got the numbers in there. But for the next one, let's say for this one here, it basically will take into account the previous year and then take into account what you're estimating the growth to be. Let's say it's 5%, 10%, whatever, then that number is going to increase. So if I were to go to here and type in, let's say, 5%, all right, then that would show a 5% growth year over year over year, all right? Same thing with the cost of goods. If I said, well, our cost of goods are probably going to rise by, maybe 3%, let's figure, then we can kind of see that. So you plug all those in there, and you get your estimated, total income, in this case, for the 5 years. Now, that might be one person's opinion, all right? You might be wanting to represent maybe 5 different people's ideas of what the estimate should be. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up scenarios for each one of those people in here so that later on then we can go into the list and we can click on each one of those scenarios and see what that's going to change here. And then we can generate the report to show what each person's estimate would have produced overall in net income or total income. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to zero these out for now. All right. And we're going to start out with doing our first scenario. Now we're probably going to want to name these like we did the last time, and maybe go to here and we'll go back to our name box and we'll just call this one sales. All right, enter that in. Go to this one here, maybe call that one COG, cost of goods maybe. Enter that in. Then go to the next one here, and we'll call this one, I'll just call it market. Oh, go back up here and type in market. Enter that in. And then the last one here for research, we'll do that, and we'll call that research. And we'll call this one here total income. All right. Oh, let's call it total here. All right. All right, there we go. Oh, and then that's it for that. All right, so now we're going to go and create this scenario. So we'll go back into the data tab. We'll go to what if analysis, go to our scenario manager, hit add, and this is going to be for, let's say, Maggie. All right, so Maggie, this is her scenario, and that scenario is going to be covering changing the cells of this first one here. All right, then we'll hold on the control key. We'll click onto here, and onto here. Those are going to be the 4 there. All right, then once we've done that, we go ahead and hit OK. And now we're going to plug in the numbers for that. So the first one we'll say is going to be, let's say, 0.05, 0.02, 0.04, and 0.05, let's say, right? We will then hit OK. So there's Maggie. I can hit add again. This next one is for Bob. Okay, so this is Bob's estimate. We got the 4 still in there. Hit OK. Now for Bob, we're going to type in, let's say, 0.06, 0.02, 0.03, and 0.07. All right. Hit add on that. There we go there. We'll hit add again. This is going to be for the chipster. Hit OK. And the chipster comes up with, let's say, 0.15. Pretty ambitious there. And then cost of goods will be 0.01. Market 0.05 and 0.08. All right. Hit OK on that. And then we'll do one more. We'll hit add. This one's going to be Beavis. Same range. Hit OK. And Beavis says for the first one, for sales growth, 0.08. Cost of goods, 0.01. Marketing, we're going to leave that nothing. And for research, 0.09. All right. And add that in there. Perfect. So we'll then close it. Okay, and then when you're ready to look at it, what do? Well, then we'll go back over into data, go back to our what if analysis, go back into the scenario manager. There it is. I'll put it up here. All right, so now I go ahead and I'll double click on the Maggie. Unbelievable. How about that, huh? We'll look at Bob. There's Bob. There's Chipster. And there's Beavis. Pretty neat. But you can see how all that information is changing, you know, because of those percentages that we've got in there. Now, at some point, you might want to see a side-by-side comparison, summarization. So all we have to do is just click on the summary. We're going to tell it that we want the scenario summary, and it's all kind of hinging around that total income. So that's already on there. So we'll go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. So we can see for each of our managers here, looking at what they predict for the increase year over year, and then we can see what their predictions would net us overall in income. All right, and it looks like probably the chipster has the most ambitious and probably the most optimistic numbers there. So not bad, but I just like the idea that we're able to do this, and we're not having to, you know, set up, you know, 4 or 5 different worksheets. We can actually just have one single worksheet and be able to go back and forth between each of the scenarios and see how that changes things. So hopefully this is something that you can maybe utilize from time to time, especially if you're going to be doing meetings and you want to kind of present different points of view and so forth and different thoughts. This is what you have here. Great little tool. So hope you enjoyed the video. Take care.